In a remote corner of Utah, there's this 512-acre property that honestly defies explanation. It's a place where science slams right up against the impossible, where ancient legends feel like they're bleeding into our modern reality. This is the story of Skinwalker Ranch, and it just may be the most terrifying and well-documented paranormal hotspot on Earth.
And look, that isn't just some casual claim, That's a conclusion reached by scientists, military personnel, and intelligence officers who have spent decades trying to solve the riddle of this place. The sheer volume and, frankly, the variety of phenomena reported here, we're talking everything from UFOs to shape-shifting creatures, it's just unlike anywhere else in the world.
This mystery attracted attention from the very highest levels, so much so that the United States government secretly spent $22 million of taxpayer money trying to figure out what was happening on this ranch. And this wasn't some fringe project. This was a serious, classified intelligence operation.
That funding was for a program run by the Defense Intelligence Agency. It was called AATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Now, its official purpose was to study unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. And Skinwalker Ranch, well, it became their living laboratory, a place where these things appeared with frightening regularity.
But to really understand the modern mystery, you have to go back. I mean, way back. The strangeness of this land is deeply woven into its history and its folklore, long before the first UFO investigator ever showed up. This is where the ranch gets its chilling name.
So in Navajo tradition, the Skinwalker is a figure of pure terror. It's this malevolent witch who gets supernatural power by committing the ultimate taboo. Legends say they can shapeshift into animals, run faster than a car, and bring disease and disaster to anyone they target. Not something you want to mess with. And this deep-seated fear isn't just folklore. For centuries, the Ute tribe, who lived in the region long before anyone else, considered this specific patch of land to be totally forbidden. They called it the Path of the Skinwalker, a cursed place to be avoided at all costs. It was a warning that, tragically, new arrivals would completely ignore. So in 1994, Terry and Gwen Sherman bought the ranch. They were just looking for a quiet life. But what they found instead was a 2-year ordeal of such high strangeness and pure terror that it would make the ranch infamous around the entire world. The Shermans' dream turned into a nightmare almost immediately. The phenomena just escalated relentlessly, from this bizarre animal encounter on their very first day to a full-blown siege by some unknown, intelligent, and seemingly hostile force. They were driven off their own property in less than 2 years. Picture this. It's the family's first day. A massive canine, way bigger than any wolf they'd ever seen, just calmly walks up to them. It was so tame they actually went to pet it. But that calm demeanor was a total deception. In an instant, it lunged for one of their calves. Terry Sherman, an experienced rancher, didn't hesitate. He shot the creature point blank with a pistol. Nothing. He shot it again. It didn't even flinch. So he grabs his high-powered hunting rifle, right? A weapon that can take down an elk. And he fires. This time, he actually saw a chunk of flesh and hair fly off the beast. But the creature, it still didn't even flinch. It just looked at them, then calmly walked away. So Terry and his son tracked it for a mile in the soft mud until the prints just stopped. They ended in the middle of an open field, as if this massive animal had just vanished into thin air. In that wolf, that was just the beginning. They endured poltergeist activity, with tools and objects vanishing only to reappear in impossible places. 14 of their prize cattle were surgically mutilated or just gone without a trace. They saw these glowing orbs of light that seemed to be watching them. And, most tragically, 3 of their dogs were vaporized while chasing one of these orbs, leaving behind nothing but 3 circles of burned grass and a greasy spot on the ground. Now, after the Sherman family fled, the ranch didn't go quiet. Oh no. Instead, it became the focus of intense scientific scrutiny, purchased by a series of wealthy individuals who were determined to apply cutting-edge technology to solve its secrets. This timeline shows a really consistent pattern. First, you have aerospace billionaire Robert Bigelow, who set up a full-time scientific outpost. Then the Pentagon took over with its secret UAP program. And now, real estate investor Brandon Fugel has opened the doors to a televised investigation, bringing the search for answers right into our living rooms. And the tools they're using are just extraordinary.
I mean, investigators are literally firing rockets into the sky to see if they can trigger a response. They're probing weird anomalies with powerful lasers and scanning for invisible structures with advanced sensor arrays. This is a serious high-tech effort to force this phenomenon, whatever it is, out of the shadows.
One of the only tangible discoveries so far came from drilling hundreds of feet into the mesa, this massive rock formation on the property. Investigators pulled up these strange, ceramic-like fragments. Analysis showed they contained tellurium and europium, super rare elements used in advanced electronics and superconductors. The big question is, why were they buried deep underground? But for all the high-tech gear and all the terrifying eyewitness accounts, there is a powerful and persistent counter-narrative, a narrative that suggests the entire Skinwalker Ranch phenomenon might be something else entirely.
Well, prominent skeptics like Robert Schaefer argue that after decades of investigation by billionaires and the government, there is still not one single piece of conclusive, peer-reviewed evidence. The entire phenomenon, he suggests, is built on anecdotes and storytelling, not hard data. And here is maybe the biggest hole in the whole story: the Myers family. They owned and lived on that exact same ranch from 1934 to 1994. For 60 years, they worked the land, they raised their family, and according to their relatives, they experienced absolutely nothing unusual. How could a paranormal hotspot be completely dormant for 6 decades? You know, the foundation of the legend itself starts to crack under scrutiny. Terry Sherman, the main witness, later admitted the famous book about his family only resembled what happened. He even dismissed that iconic bulletproof wolf story as hearsay. So, when the main witness backtracks and there's a total lack of hard proof, you start to have some serious questions. Which brings us to today. With a popular reality TV show now documenting the investigation, critics argue that the search for truth has been replaced by the need to create compelling television, right? Are strange equipment malfunctions and blurry lights in the sky genuine phenomena, or are they just being edited and framed for maximum drama? So, after all the terror, all the science, and all the skepticism, where does that leave us? Well, we're left with two completely different, mutually exclusive realities that both claim to be the truth of Skinwalker Ranch. On one hand, you've got a paranormal hotspot, a potential gateway for other dimensions or intelligences, backed by credible witnesses and serious scientific inquiry. On the other hand, you have a modern myth built on ancient folklore and exaggerated stories, and now it's being sustained by a media enterprise. In the end, after millions of dollars and decades of research, the only thing we know for sure is the mystery itself. Is Skinwalker Ranch a portal to other dimensions, a window into a reality beyond our own? Or is it simply a mirror reflecting our own deepest fears and our desire to believe in something more? The search for the truth continues.